podium right here. Good afternoon, everyone. So for me, I think contrary to popular belief that our seniors, to what I've been seeing, have been very active on the council.
Yes.
I remember the times where they took up all the seats in the council room and in the overflow room. And because of that advocacy, you should give yourself a round of applause. That's real. That's real. I always say that bad things happen when good people do nothing. And I think that we're in a place and time in Ward 8 where we have to come together to put aside, what we don't have in common, because we have a lot of stuff in common. And I think that we are, struggling to find our way where we are economically, because we do a lot of building in the city all the time. But we are trying to be more laser focused on how we build and who we building for. Because as you all have seen in the last couple of years, that we've laid out the red carpet for new people coming to DC. Tax incentives, breaks, all this money for people coming. We welcome new people coming to DC, but we want to make sure we're taking care of those who've been in DC for the long haul, through the bad times, the good times, and the in-between. And so my office has been laser focused on ensuring that we keep seniors as a high priority. And as a result, I don't know if you know or not, but we were in a battle over Union Square. Anybody know about the Union Square project? Yeah. Okay, so those who don't know, it was look at Niecy smiling. It was a battle with Union Square because they wanted to get a $60.7 million tax incentive financing from the government to underwrite the project. And while that was all well and good, most of the people that were moving into that apartment were going to be new people. Based on the demographics, the incomes of people living in the ward. I'm proud to say that because of your advocacy, we now replaced a hotel with a new senior living facility. Wow. I got beat up a little bit, but sometimes it's worth the fight, and it's worth pushing back to ensure that we giving input of what happens in our community, not people imposing what they want to see happen in our community. And so we had a series of engagement forums in Congress Heights and the Union Temple and DHCD, but it's imperative that we stay engaged in the process. One of the things you want to focus on, I know you all heard a lot of the controversy around United Medical Center, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna touch on that a little bit, But one of the things I'm gonna have a community meeting to follow up on, because I want to know what are some of the specialty services that you all need in the community. Because it does no good for us to put $325 million in a facility and yet it don't meet the needs of the people that's designed to serve. And that's people in Ward 7 and 8. And so we are going to engage the community, because we don't want, while we're happy that GW or UHS is coming to do a hospital in our ward, this is still our hospital. Yeah. And because we circumvented the certificate of need process, it doesn't leave the government to know what the need is. And so we want you to be able to get engaged and tell what the needs are. I got you. To speak to what kind of specialty services we need. And so we're going to have a whole forum about that. And one of the things you talked about today, the panel has been excellent. Touching on the topics from the comprehensive plan, because that's going to be serious in the district. And one of the things that I noticed early on when we talked about the comprehensive plan the last time was some of the language that was in the comprehensive plan that gave people the opportunity to fight against things they didn't want, or to take the government to court to say height restrictions, density, or take it out of the language, to give the developers free range to do whatever they want to do. And so I'm concerned about that, and you should be too, because we want to be stirring how we develop this framework. And so there are going to be a series of new meetings in the community to give our input on what we want to see happen with that. We want to be very engaging, and I need your help to get the word out, because I don't know everybody. And because I don't, you may know the person I don't know, and vice versa. The power is in communicating with people. Yeah. And so as we get the word out to you guys, we would like for you to join me and get the word out to your neighbors, because that's how we become stronger and increase the communication gap. Mm-hmm. One of the last things I wanted to say today was that we have finished the actual budget cycle, but we're fighting to change language in the Budget Support Act and how we want the money to be spent in different agencies. And sometimes we have to push our other colleagues, because while, as we heard before, I represent Ward 8 as the Ward 8 council member, we actually have 4 at-large members and a chairman that represent Ward 8. And so we have to make sure that our priorities it's their priority as well, because if they don't vote the way we would like to see them vote, and we're still voting to get them in office, not saying they're not, I'm just saying that we have to get to 7. Politics is about getting to that number 7, and sometimes 11, depending on if it's emergency. And I need your help to help me to get to 7, because I'm fighting as hard as I can. You know, I use a couple of language words that I want to forgive. I hope you forgive me for that. I know we're in the church, but we fighting as hard as we can to get what we need, but we have a long way to go. And we're running out of time. Because every day that goes past, there are, you know, decisions are being made. They have an adverse effect or a positive effect on our lives. And one thing I learned from Mr. Lockridge years ago, he said everything you do affects politics, because politics affect every aspect of your life. And so we want to be more engaged about how we make a decision that affects you, because at the end of the day, I work for you. Right? And so we have a senior committee in my office. We want to get more seniors involved. We have opened up our Ward 8 office 5 days a week. That's at 2235 Shannon Place. We need volunteers. I'm going to say it again, we need volunteers to come down. If you can't volunteer, raise your hand, Ms. Wendy. Talk to Wendy Glenn. We want to get you on the schedule for those who may be retired or may have free time or may want to make some calls, because the reality is, as the city grows, the people who can't afford to live anywhere else in the city are navigating east of the Anacostia River. I ain't going to say the east end. And so we're addressing a lot of the social ills that come this way. And it's a heavy burden, but it's what we signed up for. And so any help that you can give us to help navigate that, because we are dealing with a lot of crucial issues, especially with the violence in the community.
Is that coming elsewhere?
What?
The violence.
The violence is we've had violence in the community for a long time, but the issue is that we got to address the mental health issues in our community. We have to address the lack of investing in education in our community, the substance abuse issues in our community, as you all know. And until we address that, we're going to be here over and over again. And we got to get more mentors in some of these young people's lives, because they're becoming what they see. And when we don't provide something constructive for them to do, at least do stuff destructive. As you've seen in the community, which I talked about when I was on a panel with people when I ran for office, about the number of recreation centers that closed in this ward. Over 7. Yeah, we said we care about the young people and vice versa. But we've been very diligent. We opened up 3 new recs. We just added 1 more to the budget. I have to give credit to Mayor Murray Bowser, because she put the money in when we asked her for a new Douglas Recreation Center. We up to 3 new recs, a new senior wellness center, and also we added to Congress Heights Wellness Center as well. So I'm gonna digress for a moment. I see a couple of hands, so I'm gonna take right here, Ms. Buckley in the back.
Mary Buckley. My question is, you mentioned about a senior center being opened up in Reunion Square. Can you elaborate on what type of senior center? What does it entail? Is it residential? Is it day center? Is it for people who are very ill, or for healthy people, or what? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So we still in negotiations about that, but the philosophy behind it is senior housing. It's not a wellness center, it's not an activity center, it's actually a living quarters that was originally designed for a hotel. I think it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's about 60 units. And it ranges from different AMIs. We're trying to push them down to mixed units, but we're really trying to, because you know, a lot of seniors on fixed income. And we don't want you to decide between if you're going to pay your rent or get some food or pay for your medicine. And so we're very conscious of that. And it's been a tough road trying to push them to do what we want to see happen in the community. Because there are other residents that don't want a senior facility in our ward. They don't want to live close to any poor people. They want, you know, and they want amenities, which I want amenities as well. But it's about how we're going to create a healthy mix at one time without pushing people out.